So the next track, probably Blood on the Rooftops, you know, one of my absolute favorite songs ever in the world. Definitely one of my top 2 or 3, you know, Genesis songs.
It's the whole reason I would return to this album as much as I did, really. I mean, One for a Vine I love.
Right.
But when you came to Blood on a Rooftop, man, there's some parts on that song
just
that
sublime,
are just
sublime.
some of the prettiest music created.
And this is Steve Hackett composition.
And it's a Steve Hackett composition, which I was surprised to find. But I should have known listening to this.
Sublime. This is a rainy English autumn countryside. Like you sit down the patio of this country house. Kind of a Spanish feel there. Love this right here. Here we go.
Dark and grey, an English film, the Wednesday play.
The way Phil sings it.
We always watch the Queen on Christmas Day. Won't you stay?
Here's Tony with his orchestra.
Roll your eyes, see shipwrecked sailors, you're still dry. The outlook's fine, the whales might have some rain. Saved again.
Melodies.
Let's see the news, boy. I'll make some tea. Arabs and the Jews, boy. Too much for me. They get me confused, boy. Puts me off to sea. And the thing I hate, oh Lord, is staying up late to watch some debate on some nation's day.
Melodies, man. You know that Oh Lord is the
I'm a
first time.
sucker for oboe.
The Oh Lord there, right? This is the first time Pete
Hypnotized
sang Oh Lord.
by Batman Tarzan, still surprised. You won the West in time to be our guest. Name your prize.
That oboe again.
Drop of wine, glass of beer, dear. What's the time? The grime on the time is mine, oh mine, oh mine. 9:05. Blood on the rooftops, Venice in the spring. Streets of San Francisco, word from Peking. Trouble was started.
soundtrack song too. You know.
It's my only gripe about the song right here.
They should have kept going.
It could have kept going, and they could have gone back into Steve. You know, playing too. That's where I would have gone. No.
Don't fade it
stop
out.
now.
Don't fade it out. What are you doing? Yeah.
That was always the case when I listened to that. It's like, oh, this is just no.
I know.
Don't stop.
I know. It's a rich 5.5 minutes, but yeah, it could have been a richer
7.5. Because they could have continued on with that. You know, Tony and Steve could have just played off each other for another
couple of
2 minutes.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
You know, and the fact that was a Steve Hackett song, that's what got me. That's what I didn't know. I always thought it was a Banks song when I was listening to it back then, because it just sounded like, you know, there was so much lushness to it.
When Banks comes in, he comes in with his drama, right? His flair for those dynamics, the swells, you know. Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the Hackett's best things.
God.
And you know, and I understand there was issues with, you know, this whole album was the end of Steve.
Yeah.
You know, because he
the...
thought he had more stuff like that, because he had already done a solo album that gave him this feeling like I can write,
compose.
The interview with him that I was watching was very telltale on how, like, when he got into the band, Peter told him there's nearly not much
space available,
not much composition by committee here.
Right.
That's what he told Steve at the time. And
well,
Tony and Mike
and Peter
were already just handed this, writing the songs and everything and the composition. So Steve didn't really fit in, and Phil provided his own things, but he didn't really fit into that groove
not at this point, not yet.
No, right.
It wasn't until Duke that he wrote his first song, right? Alone Again, and
so
Please Don't Ask.
Here's a quote that I got on this interview, is like from Steve Hackett, when he said, "Tony and Mike didn't want me to have a separate solo career.
Whoa.
But without any guarantee of the songs I was writing being done by the band, they weren't prepared to give me any guarantees that they'd be on the album.
Yeah.
I felt that if I'm really going to have self-respect, I can't stay in this band." That's what he felt.
I respect that, you know.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that that's also maybe, you had said that Anthony Phillips left because he was sick or whatever, but
right.
But you know, if he was as strong a composer as it sounds like, he might have contributed maybe too as well.
No, I think that was just they were so young then.
Oh, okay.
It was just that was so early that they didn't really know
who was
what they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was kind of, they were still learning to get things done at that point. But I guess, to me, Hackett leaving, I didn't know at the time, because I didn't know the history of Genesis then. I mean, we worked our way back to this stuff. So, we knew Genesis. We were born with Genesis being 3-piece. So
yes, Duke, and one side, 3 Sides Live, and Abacab. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So the whole Steve Hackett era I'm learning more about it now that we're redoing this album.
I loved going back from their 3-piece to going back to the 4-piece, because I just thought, I don't know, there's something about these two albums that is just really unique about all the Genesis albums, right? I mean, these two.
It is a distinct era.
Yeah.
They don't sound like Peter's time, and they don't sound like the three of them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, Hackett must have been the one. I mean, there's such a rich combination of just the guitars, and there's just melodies all over the place. The compositional.
And also on Trick of the Tail, Hackett was working on a solo album. And so they already had these songs kind of worked up before Hackett showed up at the studio to work with them. And this album, to me, has more of them combined.
Than Trick
there
of the
was
Tail.
There was more band interactivity on a lot of the compositions, I think.
Yes.
That's like what you were saying. It was an impression I got.
Yeah,
Seemed to
and
be.
I think that's really why I kind of at first this one was more my favorite. More I liked it better than Trick of the Tail. I don't know, and of course now that I'm listening to this one, I'm like, well,
It's. I think it's a smoother album. I think the tracks fit together better.
it is. It's I guess
Yeah.
it's got more of a cohesive feel. For
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at that cover, and that's what the album sounds like.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yes.
You know,
especially
You
that
know,
song.
Trick of the Tail. Trick of the Tail is more distinct. Each one of those characters
Right.
on that
Yes.
cover has a distinct
You're right.
place.
You're
Where
right.
this
Yes.
album, it could almost be a theme.
Well,
in
it's
a way,
it's
a concept.
it's a wash. This is watercolor, right? So it all
Right.
blends together. It's
Right.
There's nothing standing out. It's all monochrome, and dreamy and kind of wintry, autumny.
Right.
Yeah.
So it fits you can listen to this. You can put it on and just go through it.
And before you know it,
the next thing you know, it's like,
it's
what
over.
happened?
I know. It's true. It's so true.